Hey YouTube, Monty53 coming to you. Coming to you from our seasonal campsite. It's part of the gun club I belong to. They have 130 acres, about a half hour north of where I live, and it's our seasonal campsite. And tonight I'm enjoying a campfire with my wife, and you might hear some people off in the distance enjoying their fire. Smoking my, don't know if you can see it, but my Savinelli Bianca Smooth 320. And I'm smoking in it some new Cornell and Deal Jupiter in collaboration with Savinelli. Join the first campfire of the year. Wanted to tell you a story that happened 7 years ago. Something that I witnessed that I wish everybody could experience. It was in late October, and we were up in the UP bow hunting, and my uncle had harvested a doe while bow hunting, and one of our traditions is to meet up afterwards back at my aunt and uncle's house. And all the guys get together, and then we head back out to the woods where that person harvested their deer, and we help out finding the deer, and just it's a big tradition. Well, the day before, the sun had a flare that came off and was heading towards Earth, and we were told that the northern lights were going to be just spectacular the next night, which was that night. So we ended up heading out to this old potato field that my uncle had. It was an 80-acre potato field. He doesn't, even at the time, he wasn't into potato farming anymore, but his cousins still were in the business, so they were leasing the land. And we headed out there, and on the way to the field in the cars, you could see, or in the trucks, you could see the northern lights started, and you could see the green over the top of the trees. Well, when we got to the field, and we got out of the trucks, and we're in this field in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and there's nobody around for at least a mile. The lights, as we looked up, intensified, and they ended up getting so intense, the green, the lights from that flare, that it was literally 360 degrees around us. And as it built up, it blinded out the stars, and the further up in the sky, it became a dark red. It went from green dancing lights and then blended into these big dark red lights. I mean, it was beautiful. It was awe-inspiring. And, you know, it was a chilly night, probably in the 40s, so it just was perfect. And as that red got up further and further in the sky, and it literally looked like a bowl above us, bending over the earth, creating this bowl, and I mean 360. It was so intense. It was beautiful. But in the center of this bowl, it looked like there was a hole there, and the light was escaping out of that hole and into space. It was beautiful. I mean, I've never witnessed anything like that. It was, to me, it was spiritual. And my uncle Dan, who has lived up there his whole life, just stopped and went, in all my years, I've never seen the northern lights like this. this is intense. And we've never, he goes, this, we all stopped and got very quiet and just looked. And unfortunately, using an iPhone or you just couldn't take any pictures. With the flash, it would automatically flash and you just couldn't capture the lights. But what was really, really awesome was, hold on a second. As we got quiet and just watched those lights and just took in the moment of that intensity, the coyotes to the east, a pack of them started howling. And you just got the goosebumps. Well, then to the west, another pack started answering that pack. So you had two packs of coyotes answering one another in that sky when that light was going. And I mean, the goosebumps were huge. So at that moment, we all looked at each other and said, you know what, we better get moving because the coyotes are on the hunt. And we wanted to make sure we found that deer before they did. So we ended up going into the woods to go to my uncle's tree stand, and it was amazing. Even when you walked through the woods, by that point, a lot of the leaves had fallen off the tree, or the trees. And as we were walking, you just looked up through the trees, through the limbs, and you could just see that green and red, that intensity up there. I mean, I really wish you all could witness something that intense. The lights were just beautiful. The moment was perfect. The one thing that we were happy, though, was that if we're going to hear something howl, that it be coyotes, because we can deal with coyotes. Up in the Upper Peninsula, they have wolves. And the one thing we didn't want to do is run into any wolves. And fortunately, we didn't. Because that would really make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. But to hear those coyotes and to see those lights was an amazing experience, and I really wish all of you could have that kind of experience. Out in the woods on a cool October night and just see those northern lights that intense and with your friends and just take in the moment. It actually made the news. The next day I was checking websites. I think they were more like weather type websites where people post their photos, and photographers were out on Lake Superior, some near lighthouses. So when the lights really intensified, they could capture the moment, and it made national news. It was that intense. But that was just a great moment in my life, and I'll never forget it. And if you just ever get a chance, you do need to see something that special and that spiritual. But I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm gonna sit back with my wife and enjoy this campfire and finish smoking my pipe. I hope you have a great weekend. The weather is perfect here in Michigan. Tonight it's gonna be in the low 40s. We're at the campsite, but you know, we have a travel trailer, so we'll be warm. But just have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye.